So new moon in Aries in Ashwini Nakshatra. So it's a time of renewal, beginnings, retaining the mental innocence, charging forward like two horses. So check it out. On April 27th, we have the new moon in Aries, which is going to show a 30-day cycle of initiating new actions, excitement, restlessness, perhaps, impatience. And this new moon is going to happen in Ashwini Nakshatra. Of course, this is at the very beginning of Aries. And of course, it says it in every Vedic astrology text. In particular, Ashwini and Aries are the beginning of the zodiac, right? Very clear. And that nakshatra of Ashwini is symbolized by two horses. And those horses are related to prana and energy and vitality and focus. And of course, this makes perfect sense for the beginning of the zodiac and Aries, where our energy is pushed forward with a lot of propulsion and vitality and prana. And, we can focus on the zodiac quality here as being one of innocence and, restlessness and enthusiasm. And that's across all, spectrum. So it's not just, the innocence of youth and like the impetuousness and impatience of youth, but it's also, it means retaining an innocent mind, like a beginner's mindset. Once we get some years on us and we get older, many times people forget to have a beginner's mind, to stay curious and to stay open and to stay a little restless about their own life and their own spiritual growth, their own personal development. It's very easy to think, oh, I understand life. I get it. I've been around. Oh, let me tell you, I've learned. I've grown. I'm wise. Yeah, we've learned some things. Most of the things we've learned, at the time they were happening, we were unaware that we were learning anything. It was feeling like we were being punished. And then afterwards, we learned how much strength we have. And it was mainly our capacity to endure the difficulty. The point is that these things are actually even related to Mars, which is the ruler of Aries, which gives us the capacity to endure difficulty and stress with courage. So this new moon in Aries is really an opportunity for us all to reconnect with the mental innocence in our mind that still trusts and believes that there's growth possible, that we're not cynical, that we're not overconfident in our experience and closed down and sort of crunched up around it. This is the real benefit of Aries. There's an enthusiasm, there's a newness, there's a renewal about that sign. And again, Mars, symbolically and energetically, is ruled by the young son of Lord Shiva named Kartikeya, who has the mental innocence to be the general of the army of Devas. So the Devas, or the gods, needed to fight needed to fight a battle, and they had an army, but they needed a general to command the army. And so they went to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva presented his son to lead the army into battle, because they needed someone with the mental innocence and the openness to not be, cynical and fearful and, thinking that victory was impossible. See, what happens is over time we've lost so many battles. We've lost so many times. We're so conditioned by our defeats. Again, a lot of this has to do with the negative quality of Saturn, if we're not careful, where we know, I believed before, I trusted before, I thought I had the answers before, and I tried and it didn't work out, so I don't believe anymore. I don't think, these are my hard-fought victories where I'm, now I'm cynical and I'm jaded and you can't fool me, and, all this kind of stuff it's a lot of Saturn energy. And we do learn through life's mistakes and defeats. But sometimes all of our defeats, they don't make us stronger, they make us defeated. right? And we stop trying to win those victories over our own ignorance. Again, this is the nature of Mars, is to have the courage to take on our own preconceptions and our own false preconceptions. So Mars gives us the mental innocence to conquer our own habits and fears and negative triggers. And so this 30-day cycle of Aries is really a time for that renewal, that rebirth. Look at the way nature is reborn around this time every year, right? Around this time every year, nature rejuvenates. And what happens is it, it winds up, after being defeated by Old Man Winter, right? Old Man Winter defeats nature every year. But what happens? Nature says, okay, there'll be another cycle, it'll come back, and now it's time for us to grow and flourish again. So that symbol of Aries is very powerful in that regard. For the next 30 days, it's really a time to reclaim some of that mental innocence and courage and push forward into what excites you. What's the next level for you, right? What's the next growth path for you? And are you just being defeated by all of the difficulties in the world now, or is there something hopeful worth fighting for, right? And now, as I record this in April of 2020, we have Mars in Capricorn, where he's exalted. He's with Saturn, the ruler. He's also with Jupiter, the teacher and the guru. So there's a lot of intensity right now, but there's also a lot of opportunity with Mars joined with the ruler of Aries being exalted, with its ruler, and with Jupiter, the great guru, the great teacher. Now, we also have Venus in Taurus. So Venus is in Taurus, where it's showing this beauty of nature. We're sort of reclaiming and seeing this beauty of nature, and it's so inspiring to us now to see how nature has adjusted and has adapted to our recent quarantining and social distancing because of the corona outbreak. We're seeing that beauty of nature and hopefully the beauty of each other, right? And the appreciation of nature and the appreciation of each other. And, hopefully we're facing our frustrations gracefully and appreciating those who have been in our life, rather than, perhaps feeling frustrated. One of the things is with all the social distancing, everybody's having to come and face their partners maybe in ways that they hadn't expected. So again, with this new moon in Aries, you want to also be aware of this frustration maybe that you have with others in your life, and let that transit of Taurus, of Venus through Taurus, really lead you to a deeper forgiveness, compassion, and also reflection on your own tendencies and how much you honor other people's values, especially when you get your feelings hurt or whatever. Again, it's very easy for us to feel violated by others who maybe, disappoint us or hurt our feelings. But how do we respond when that happens? Are we compassionate? Are we treating others the way we want to be treated? Again, these are big themes right now, especially as Venus goes through Taurus between now and August. So, we also, again, I want to talk about that nakshatra of Ashwini, which is very important. And showing that first section of Aries, it's really about vitality in the body and mind, and the movement of prana and energy through the body and mind as well. So Ashwini is deeply related to things like Ayurveda, Ayurvedic medicine, and all kinds of energetic healing. That includes astrology, it includes yoga, again, Ayurveda. All of these energetic practices are included in this Ashwini nakshatra. Again, the feeling here is that our energy doesn't just flow outward, or we're not just a creature of the world. We have an entire energetic pranic body, which has to do again with breath and with the nadis, which are the energy centers through which the breath moves in our mental body, and many other channels. But we need to open those channels and we need to energetically become empowered. And right now, again, with all this stuff, with this coronavirus and whatnot, all the messages out, externally are all about they're quite fearful, and it's, media is just having a field day because they get to control everybody with this hypnosis, these hypnotic messages. But underneath it all, what's really important is healing yourself, self-healing, particularly, again, with things that are free, like breath, like good, herbs and medicines that rejuvenate and that heal the body and the tissues. So learning energetic healing practices like Ayurveda and yoga and astrology, great to study these things now. Again, to rejuvenate, to be reborn, to feel re-inspired, not to feel defeated, like your life is over or something, like I've learned enough and now I'm just, now I'm hardly applying any of it because I'm triggered and I'm fearful. So again, notice you being triggered and fearful and seeing how that's revealing what you really have learned, how much courage you actually do have, how much wisdom you actually do have, how much power and vitality you actually have. Those are Aries themes, okay? And reclaim that mental innocence, which is really that quality of Aries, to be reborn, this rebirth, a new cycle. So wherever Aries is in your natal chart, that's also very important, because it might be, if you're Cancer, it's your 10th house. Very different than if you're Aquarius, it's your 3rd house. If you're Sagittarius, it's your 5th house. Each of these things are different, and this is why I do forecasts on the new and full moons like this, to align you with the next course, with this next cycle. So based on whatever cycle this is for you, if you want, you can get forecasts. You can find out what it means for you, only 50 cents, so you can see the forecast for your sign, and then also get daily forecasts for 14 days. Then if you want to continue, you just pay the regular member fee, which is about $1 a day. So you can also check that out. But this new moon in Aries is a big time for us, and it's a time to really reset the button on this year. We're coming out of the winter, now we're in the spring, and we're headlong into that new cycle of rejuvenation. So I hope this is a good time for you. Retain that mental innocence so that you can change. Your whole life begins right now. Right now is a new moment that's never happened. It's only moving forward. Are you moving forward, or are you moving backward into the past, into what you're certain you could never accomplish, or whatever it is? And allow that nakshatra of Ashwini, where Aries and Ashwini are aligned, that vitality of the breath, like two horses running fast. But you need those horses to be moving in the same direction. Again, that's why it's very related to prana and the breath. The breath is often related or compared to horses. The breath is untamed. And if the breath is untamed, then the mind is wild and full of crazy desires. So we need to tame the mind and harness the energy of the mind through things like pranayama, asana, mantra. These are things that get the mind under control. Otherwise, it's running like wild horses, like two horses running in different directions. So your yogic practices, your asanas, your pranayama, your mantra are very important now. And when you harness the energy of the mind, consciousness, through these practices, then you can make rapid progress very quickly. And it doesn't feel like your life is just a bunch of, hard-fought lessons and strange beliefs and cynical, lack of hope. You still have an innocent mind that wants to know, that believes in the truth, that believes that one day you're going to actually find it, that believes that the answer is out there. And many people have lost that connection to the innocent mind. That's the biggest problem in their life, is they've lost that mental innocence. They think they really understand, and it's some dark fantasy they have. The world is just, That's a shame. That's one of the biggest tragedies of humanity, of a human being as an individual. They're so convinced that all their dark fantasies are true because of all the failings, all the times they failed. We've all failed. We've all failed the equal number of times. It's just that some people take those failures and they use them as an inspiration. And even then, they fail. You still keep failing, but you still keep being re-inspired by the failures. Others take every failure as, okay, I won't let that happen, and it just collapses inward more and more and more and more into this little ball. So now's the time to really see that. So I hope this was helpful. Share it with others if it was.